Hello, Sydney. Who am I talking to? Oh, just a friend. Oh, okay. What do you want to talk about? What's your favorite scary movie? My favorite scary movie? I'd have to say The Strangers. Oh, The Strangers. Yeah, chapter 1. What? What the fuck did you just say? The entire trilogy is just so much better than the original. And what you just saw was a real-life enactment of the true story that inspired Scream. Trust me, you can believe me. So what is going on, you guys? Welcome to my video review for the original Scream by Wes Craven. And before we get into it, if you like this video...
But wait! There's more!
We are going through this entire franchise 1 through 6. We're reviewing them all. Then we're going to do a ranking after Scream 7 comes out, so be here for that. But yeah, it's hard to talk about a more iconic, or let me use the word influential film than Wes Craven's Scream. I never like to talk in absolutes, but I would say this is easily in the top 3 most important horror films ever made. I mean, this movie has been copied, it has been imitated. This movie has exposed the tropes of basically every horror film you've ever seen. Now, I understand if you're somebody who never grew up with these films and you started with 5 or 6, you're a new generation viewer, and you go back and watch the original movies, you find them to be a little bit generic. Let me just tell you this, if you grew up around the time the original film came out, it was crazy the cultural shock this movie sent through the horror genre. In the original Scream, in the town of Woodsboro, you have a killer named Ghostface who is going around terrorizing teenagers who must use their horror movie knowledge to stop the killings. If that doesn't sound like a wet dream for somebody like me who just loves horror films, this movie from the day I saw it has stood out as one of my favorite horror movies ever. This movie somehow managed to cast so many names that would go on to be huge names in Hollywood. This movie starred Neve Campbell, Drew Barrymore, David Arquette, Courteney Cox, and others. This movie being so well received and how on the nose it was with its discussion of horror films and how misdirecting it was with the trailer, with the poster. This movie blew so many people's minds, it managed to almost win over, at least that's my theory, very talented actors and actresses to cross over into the horror genre. So when the movie starts out, we find out that a killer named Ghostface is killing in the town of Woodsboro.
Hello?
Hello?
Who is this?
Tell me your name, I'll tell you mine.
Spoilers chalked ahead because this movie is almost 35 years old. If you haven't seen it yet, that's your problem. How they started this movie off based on the trailer, the marketing, the misdirection of having Drew Barrymore be in this film. Now, at the time, Drew Barrymore was a huge name. It was almost assumed it was a preconceived notion she was going to be the final girl. Yeah, that's going to be the main character. She's the main actress.
Never told me your name.
Why do you want to know my name?
I want to know who I'm looking at.
Right off the bat, they divert your expectations by killing off Drew Barrymore in a pretty wild opener, if I do say. I think that opener has aged insanely well, and it's actually pretty damn graphic. Every time I go back, it surprises me a little bit. But it starts off what it's going to do throughout by misdirecting you and feeling like it's always going to be one step ahead of what you think it's going to be because it's playing off of a playbook that you have memorized. It's just switching it all up. The time this movie came out, it was both terrifying because Ghostface was a creepy, cool, original icon, and it was also so damn creative, and you never really knew where the movie was going to go. In fact, I don't think anybody could have predicted the ending of this film. And it also manages to seamlessly blend the fact that it is an old school slasher film while being downright hilarious at the same time. Not many movies can stick that balance. They still can't, even imitating it. And I don't know if it's just because I have this weird thing going on where I have seen scary movies so many times, I almost view this movie through that lens. That's right, I have watched both of those movies so many times, I have awkwardly blended them together in my head. I see all of the serious scenes as comedy, and whenever I watch Scary Movie, I remember the exact scene that they are parodying because I've seen Scream so many times. I've also always had a lot of fun with the kills of this movie. I think they are very creative, and Rose McGowan, enough said. You can kind of theory craft what was happening at each particular time, because if you go back in hindsight and you know the end of this film, all the stuff related to that when it comes to a whodunit aspect actually feels like you can solve it. And in this movie, we are also introduced to one of the most badass final girls in the history of horror, Sidney Prescott, played by Neve Campbell. I'm a huge proponent of making final girls smart and creative and fierce. You gotta earn it, and I think this is one of the best standouts in the history of horror. At no point in this movie does it feel like Sidney Prescott is some complete idiot. Sure, she is misdirected at points like the majority of the viewers, hence the point of the film. But I also think her character, given the information she knows at each individual part of this film, does a good job with what she is given and acts accordingly, where the majority of audiences can kind of say, yeah, that's reasonable. It also has David Arquette as Dewey, another guy I just cannot see his character without looking at Doofy from Scary Movie. Every time I see Dewey, I'm like, okay, Doofy, go get your vacuum. And I do think they are one of the best backbone cores of a franchise in horror, because even the other movies we know well, like Halloween, they don't really have the most memorable final girls or core cast of characters that makes it very far without getting killed off. These movies, as they go from number 1 all the way throughout, manage to keep the same core of characters almost the way a TV show does, because you're not really sure if the characters are going to bite the bullet, and once you grow attached to them, that kind of matters. Now, I've already said I think everybody does a good job in this movie, but if I had to give one standout, it would be Matthew Lillard as Stu Macher. I think his character, I don't want to say one of the best. Again, I don't like using hyperbole. I say that all the time. But I definitely think he is one of the best characters in horror. Creepy at certain points, absolutely hilarious the way this guy delivers lines.
I'll be right back.
He's responsible for 2 to 3 lines in this film that, I'm not joking, I say annually. I've copied his lines and I just insert them into things. Probably my problem that my brain only works in movie quotes. Another line in this movie I have always really loved that they parody in Scary Movie is the idea that violence on TV and imitating that is not what causes killers. Canceling TV shows does. Ain't that the goddamn truth? Bring back Hannibal. But yeah, just such a quotable film, such a well-acted movie, so many iconic kills, so many iconic actors and actresses who die in this film. It's crazy to me how effective this was, and I think that is because Wes Craven, God rest his soul to you, one of the best to ever do it. I think the guy just had such a knack, such a passion for horror. He made beautiful, awesome visual films that you watched and said, I love that movie. He manages to blend that, just watching a good movie, with commentary, social things, meta-awareness of the genre he acted in. So many things that you can watch like 100 times and you never get old of them because there is so much going on in these movies. So I think the movie is effective for all of those reasons combined. I think Ghostface became one of the most iconic killers for a reason. I mean, he has that voice. The kills in this are great. The fact that, again, I didn't even mention this, he's probably the fastest, one of the smartest. He almost started a thing of not having the killer just walk like a zombie, which was awesome because at that time we were still only getting Jason and Michael and these killers that simultaneously walk at the speed of molasses, but they can teleport to wherever you are. Where Ghostface, he was like sliding under cars, he's sprinting. It was awesome. He was clumsy as shit, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's something for another day. Again, Scary Movie, that piano scene. But he was so cool. He was so original. So I understand why every single kid, myself included, was wearing a Ghostface mask. And they had the bloody version. It's a shame they banned that shit. What a soft society we have. So you have that, and then you have Neve Campbell as our final girl, who again, I've already stated I love. You have Courteney Cox, who was a huge star at the time. Same with David Arquette. He's great as Dewey. All their chemistry throughout this entire franchise, top notch. Humor injected in that. You have the big twist that set this franchise on fire. I mean, it's become a thing in horror that 500 movies have copied that twist. The line of Matthew Lillard to say, oh, my mom's gonna be so mad, makes me laugh every single time 30 years later. So yeah, maybe a little bit light on specifics. I just wanted to give you my overall thoughts on Scream, the original, and I feel like everybody has seen this movie like 30 times, so I'm not really sure what else I can add to the conversation you guys have not already known and heard about it. But yeah, as you guys can probably tell, I love this shit. One of my favorite franchises. From the moment I saw this movie all of those years ago, and I gotta tell you the story. We actually weren't supposed to watch this movie. We snuck it at a birthday party. We were all watching this in sleeping bags, terrified to shit, laughing our asses off. And from that moment, one of the core foundational memories that spawned my love for horror films. So thank you, Wes Craven. Scream is awesome. You know it. I know it. So I'm expecting everybody here is going to say they love this movie. Not a whole lot of people disagree about that, but let me know your overall thoughts on this franchise. As I said, we're going to move down the line through this series before Scream 7. Then I'm going to rank them all, give you my thoughts. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a live stream at 1,500 subs. So join me down below, help me get to that number. And again, if you want to see any other content like this, I'm going to put a link up here to my other franchise rankings and reviews. You want to see that? I'll see you in Scream 2. Peace.